Welcome to Ali Fitness Podcast, a weekly production all about bringing health into fitness. Dr. Justin Gregory holds a doctorate in anthropology from Oxford University and is a published author of several academic papers. But not just an academic, he's a black belt in judo, and I believe he was part of the British squad. And despite being a newbie to powerlifting, he won a bronze medal at the HK National Powerlifting Championships this year. Not to mention he was BJJ champion at the Pan Ams in, I think it was about 2014. So Justin's married his academic career as a quantitative researcher and his time as a national athlete to found a company that is all about preventative health and optimal performance. So today we get him on the show to find out more about how we can benefit from this service. So welcome to the show, Dr. Justin.
Hi, Ali. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Look, I'd love to start. I'm so inspired by what you're doing, and I've asked you on the show so that people in Hong Kong and Asia, and now you've just opened in Singapore, can benefit from your services. So can you share with us firstly the reasons behind starting Biorna Quantics, which is the name of your company? How did it all start and why did you do it?
Well, I think there's a few reasons. For myself, there's personal reasons. You know, I'm very keen on having better access to my health and better means to track my health and being able to act on it. I think this also stands for other people as well. So we're trying to do something pretty special at Biorna Quantics. We're trying to essentially put the power of interpretation from a practitioner into people's hands and make it work for them on a daily basis. We look at a broad range of health markers that you might typically get from a physician, and we have test kits and people can essentially collect their biological markers at home, and we take the data, upload it into our platform, and it's going to give people on a daily basis like information on how to optimize their diet, how to train in accordance with the current status of their body or a few genetic markers. So essentially just that access to your health and the ability to act on it. In the world today, we don't really have like a dashboard to your health available to us. And that's what Biorna Quantics is trying to provide, along with the health recommendation engine that comes along with that. So people can truly own their health and have unbarred access to it.
Yeah, so you mentioned that people can own their health. Did you experience something where you didn't feel like you could own your health? Where's the passion coming from here?
It comes from a few different directions and it's morphed in different ways. I mean, I have my own experiences as a judo player. I mean, what we're doing is very personalized. It's trying to account for people as biological individuals and the differences between people. And, you know, giving them the ability to act on that. So maybe my personal story in this regard is, you know, as a younger judo player being essentially prescribed the same diets as everybody else, and my inability to be able to respond optimally to that. You know, I had to go through a long process of trial and error because I didn't have the toolkit at hand that we're trying to build now. So, you know, that I used to get the same diet as everybody else essentially around me, and you know, I used to stay around 14% body fat, which was unacceptable to my coaches, really, let's say. And, you know, a lot of the guys were much, much leaner than me. So it took a lot of trial and error to work out, you know, exactly what did work for my body and what didn't. Being surrounded by testing, you know, I realized the value of understanding the impact of stress on your body and the physiological response that has. If you can control the amount of stress and use it and facilitate the environment in which you can respond optimally to the stress of exercise, you can get much better results. And
So take me through the process of how I'd use your service. So let's say I'm an athlete and I've recently started feeling like I just have really low energy and I'm just not quite right. I'm not performing the same as I used to. I'm not sure what it is. I may be feeling a bit sick in the stomach every now and then, but I'm just really lethargic. What would I do?
Well, we see this a lot at Biorna Quantics. There can be several reasons behind this. I mean, a lot of it is just plain old overtraining, you know, and there's a physiological basis to that. So, you know, we are largely surrounded by a culture of, you know, if you're going to do exercise, you do it as hard as you can, you know, you get it, smash it. and you go as hard as you can, you train each day harder than the next. But when it comes to it, when you're training for like long-term goals or something sustainable, that's not a good approach. You will see results in the short term, possibly, but ultimately, even in the short term, a matter of like 12 weeks or so, you can quickly burn out. Your vitamin D levels can drop dramatically due to the stress on your body. Other physiological changes, your adrenal systems can become really quite taxed or elevated. You're quickly disturbing like the homeostasis of your body, putting it in a position where your body cannot adapt to the stresses you have been pounding it with for that period of time from exercise. Again, when these people come to us, we're trying to create an optimal environment for adaptation. And a lot of this involved here is that reattaining that physiological balance to facilitate that.
So what would I do? Would I go to your website? Do I fill out a form? How does it all work? Do I need to go for a consult?
You can. In this regard, if someone came to us with burnout or something like this and they just weren't getting results anymore, you might go to our website and we have an eye appraisal, as we call it there. And you could go through the process of, talking about your habits, your lifestyle, various stress triggers in your life. And, as we call it, like physiological indicators or symptoms that you're displaying. And from that, the eye appraiser would automatically recommend a package of tests that would be a benefit to you, so you can really zero in on the areas of which you need to focus on to bring back that physiological balance or bring optimization to your life. There's different ways of going about it, and from that, the platform is supposed to be for you to really own your health. So you can take this testing, take it home, give back the samples that you collect at home to us, and we process, push the data in, and the platform has all the education in there. And it'll tell you what to do in terms of altering your diet and what to do in terms of supplementation or what to do in terms of lifestyle and exercise to, rebalance things and create that optimal environment again. Or, as you said, you mentioned the consult, you can also speak to like a Biorna professional as well, if you like. We have many partners and we also have our in-house team that you can go and see if possibly you need a little bit of hand holding or you've got something a little bit more serious going on. That support is there for you. Yeah,
okay.
But that's essentially your choice. Yeah.
So if I wanted to, I could go online, I could fill out a form, and from that, answering those questions, you would be telling me what testing kits I would need to purchase in order to get tests to find out what's going on. I'd then get a good analysis of that. How long would that take to get those results back? Presumably, I order a test kit. How long does a test kit take to get to my house?
It should be overnight, essentially. You'll get a test kit the next day. We're quick, within 48 hours, let's say.
Okay, and I'm assuming I'm not taking my own blood here. I'm taking feces samples, am I? Or am I doing...
It can be different markers require different biological samples. It can be saliva. It can be urine dried or urine in a pot. It can be stool, as you said. It can also be, buccal swabs. And we also use like a blood spot technology as well. All the testing, importantly, all lab partners we have for this. This is all validated, clinically validating testing protocols. Yeah.
And Dr. Justin,
it takes 7 days. Yeah.
How long will it take? So I would then send it back to you. How long would it take to get my results?
That would take anywhere between 4 and mostly 7-10 days, but maybe out to 2 weeks.
Okay. So how does it differ then if I go to the doctor? He asks me or she asks me several questions. I give them the answers. They then say, you need to do these tests. What difference is there between me going online using your services versus going to the doctor?
We should get this straight. We're not trying to say this is a replacement for conventional medicine. This is complementary to it. We look for different things. There are big differences in the process. It's much lighter on time. If you're going to your doctor and you're going to get some testing, and then typical journey of going to the doctor will be have an appointment, getting the referral to the nurse, going to the nurse, getting quite an invasive possible blood serum test, waiting for the results for that, returning back to the doctor, and then talking through a sheet of numbers, essentially, which you might get or you might not. You probably don't, actually. But, you just get that information that's passed to you there and then, with a very much the mindset of looking at like critical medical outcomes, like a disease, essentially. So we approach the whole process differently. You can essentially bypass the initial consultation all at home. You still have a health check, and there's all the precautions we take there to make sure you're getting what you need, but you get it delivered at home. You take the sample at home, you return it back to us. Then the way we interpret the report, or the way the BQ engine handles all the data, should be much more informative in terms of what people need on a daily basis. We're not just trying to deal with disease here. We're trying to make those little tweaks to make that person that 10% better at what they want to do in the office, just being a bit sharper and being able to close that deal that you might not have been closed, or as an athlete, having that extra 10% to actually start winning what you're doing, or, it could be body recomposition as well. You might be interested in the gym. We can make that extra edge to get you what you need. All that information is there to enable you to do that. In the doctor, you get quite impoverished information from the sheet of numbers that you get, but with us, the numbers come to life. That you get that in-depth education resource, and it tells you about you as a biological individual, and you have all the interventions that are spelled out for you to follow. Essentially, we give you a list of things to do to optimize your health and prevent ill health down the road. It's much lighter in time.
Would I be right in saying too that you even offer an actual diet based on all the testing, as well as giving not only options of food, but actual meal plans,
Sure.
as well as videos? Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is part of what we do for people in terms of that easy to action listing or plan that we provide as part of the engine. With regard to food and the menus that we create people automatically through the BQ engine, we could be looking at like immunological responses to like a broad range of foods, even 95 or 190. Given the results of that, we will adjust the menu that we provide to you as part of the app experience. So you can then go there and have a look at the video of how it's made, and they're very precise meals. It's all weighed out to the gram. You got your recipe. We also provide the service of making the meals themselves. On top of the immunological responses, we also look at DNA markers, which we can use to help you understand, in essence, like your carbohydrate metabolism and your fat metabolism and the protein demands given like your exercise response. So we can generate, like a bio-personalized macronutrient ratio for you as well, of which we can then adjust all your meal plan and all your meals to that ratio. It's doing a job that of a practitioner would take quite a long time to do. Does it immediately due to all the logic we've embedded in this app. It's been a big project. We are the first company in the world to be able to do this for the person.
So what you're telling me then is you take in, say I do a DNA test, you take into consideration all of that, as well as maybe, let's say I do a food allergy test. You take both of those into consideration, even combine that with foods that I just don't like?
Yeah, absolutely. You can exclude foods you don't like as well, and it's still you'll get your meal plan, for the day and the week and everything, and your breakfast all, without those foods included.
Wow.
There's also stuff like heavy metals as well. Heavy metal food sources, arsenic, we'll exclude all the foods that might contain that from your plan as well if you come up positive in a heavy metals test as well. So it would take into account all these 400 biomarkers essentially to tailor your meal plan to you.
Okay. And so I then get a menu, a meal plan, and then if I'd like to, I can actually make the meals myself. Otherwise, there's an option for me to purchase meals from your kitchen on a daily basis?
Absolutely. Yeah. We can deliver daily. We're very flexible. You can have between 2 and 6 meals a day. We encourage frequent eating for better blood sugar regulation. There's a variety of different changes there. We do antioxidant smoothies, and we do very specific breakfasts with very low carb and smart fats in there. We're interested in neurotransmitter production and controlling that insulin spike early in the morning. It's very scientific specific food, and you can even make it yourself. You're completely open to do it. Chef Mike is there. cooking it for you on video, or you can just click a button and get the plan at home, or deliver to your office, or deliver the evening before. We're very flexible. This is Hong Kong only at the moment, but soon coming to Singapore also.
Wow. And
the world.
So you mentioned that you look at 400 biomarkers. I'm not expecting you to tell me what all those 400 are, but what are your different kits and what are the more popular ones? And talk us through a few of those.
Sure. I mean, we sell quite a few different ones. We've got some very special technology for gastrointestinal area. It covers a lot of markers like your but we're looking at the balance of normal flora, good flora, beneficial flora in your stomach with the prebiotics. It covers the range of pathogens and these sort of things. It looks at pancreatic insufficiencies for digestive enzymes and secretion and a whole load of things, but it's a very accurate test. That's a popular one. The DNA test that we offer, that I partner with Louisiana State University for, that I've been around since the very early days of that with them. We sell a lot of those. It's good for identifying the parameters of possibility for you as a biological individual, and it's quite powerful. DNA isn't the be all and end all, but it's very good information to have to understand the realm's possibility. It's going to say not so much about the you that is today and what's going on in your body now and how the developmental environment impacted you, but it's still very good information for you to work within. As I said before, you can get a lot of good information about, your response to food, how you metabolize carbohydrates, fats from this, to the more robust markers that we look at in terms of scientific support. Food sensitivities is common, the immunological response to foods. We've also got a really good, what we call a body composition profile. So we're looking at all the physiological markers in there that can account for changes in body composition, localized fat distributions. So it covers a variety of hormones, like steroid hormones and metabolic hormones, that control, the shape of your body essentially and its response to the environment. It's got things like vitamin D in there as well, some blood sugar regulation markers, so we can really understand you. Again, it's all about creating that optimal physiological environment, creating a homeostasis, your adaptation threshold to whatever you want to challenge yourself in life is optimal, so you can get the best out of yourself, removing the unnecessary physiological stresses which would be imbalance of within these markers like low vitamin D or something like this.
And so, Dr. Justin, I'm sure you'd have a lot of clients too that would regularly do these tests to see the differences as time changes. Is that quite common, or?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very common. It's actually very important. What I always say here is, we're trying to create a change in mindset. At the moment, our approach to health is very much wait for bad things to happen and then fix it. And what we're trying to do, and with the way we think the world is inevitably changing as well, is more towards a preventative stance. It's not a matter of waiting till you're broke and then fixing you. We don't want you to break in the first place. So we're giving you the information to your body and the access to that information so you can take easy to action steps to minimize the likelihood of reaching ill health or having difficulties with your performance or body composition in the first place. It's a continuous journey. You're tracking these biomarkers. You get a good understanding of yourself over time. Yeah, it's a very good question. Very important point to make. The world is going this way, and we're building what we're doing for that inevitable future.
And you mentioned that you give information and very precise information about nutrition. Do you also give advice on other lifestyle markers, or how does exercise fit in?
Yeah, sure. With regards to exercise, all of the markers we cover could be impacting on, your performance with regards to exercise or your performance with regards to your body composition. So it's important to create the optimal environment first by understanding your body and making changes so you don't have low vitamin D, or you don't have a hormone imbalance, or you don't have a big problem with your gut that could hamper your response to exercise. We do have other technologies on top of this as well. We have a proprietary EKG technology that we've developed. We're very keen for a lot of people to come onto our app and start using this. I think they will see the value of the journey we offer, essentially through wearing a chest band for 3 minutes a day, which has a very high sampling rate. We're interested in the heart rate variability. In essence, we can quantify your stress on a daily basis, and that gives us a good indication of the current status of your body and its current status of change. If you are carrying a lot of physiological stresses due to imbalances, your HRV score would in general be lower. In general, HRV score higher, the more that correlates with longevity and lower cardiovascular disease risk, even willpower. There's tens of thousands of studies out on this area. It's only emerging within health, and it's still not well enough appreciated by like the Apple Watches and the Fitbits. It's a little bit tricky to understand, but we're trying to make it understandable for everybody, that everybody sees the value. You know, if you can understand, you know, how well your body is performing and what kind of stress it's under, you can make changes to keep it in a good state so you can respond better to what you're doing and you can adapt better to what you're doing. Adaptation to stress is one definition of fitness. We're trying to give you the maximum adaptation threshold by making sure your body is in the best condition to adapt to the stresses of exercise. And this is a tool to do that job.
Great. So your app allows us then to track our HRV, our heart rate variability. Does it enable us to track lifestyle, say daily sleep patterns and that sort of thing?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, what we do as well, and it is another world first, is we just do some heavy analytics because we're tracking so many, you know, metrics on the body. We have the power to run the analytics there to look at whether it's sleep or whether it's your nutrition or whether it's your mood or whether it's your muscle soreness that is actually the driver of your change in stress, your decrease in stress. We give the information in your hand where to focus on, what areas to resolve, and that could be just poor sleep, in order to minimize the stress in your body. And the understanding that stress is actually important. If we decrease the stress, everything starts to get better. You know, you get better response from your body.
And so does the app make you accountable? Are you able to enter every day the things that you've done, say exercise and the meals, ticking them off, that sort of thing?
Yep, you are. It's very personalised in that regard as well. Take into account the sports that you do. We call it like a compliance metric. So yeah, it will keep you accountable, and there's a whole like fun gamification aspect around that. The exercise schedule that we give to, or the training plan, or whatever you want to refer to it as, is wholly modifiable. You can pull the blocks around and move things around. So it's yours. We will track if you did it or not. We'll track the effort required to finish that said exercise session or whatever it might be. We're counting, you know, the number of times you trained in a week. Just like your meals as well, just like your nutrition. We'll count the number of good meals you've had in a week versus the number of bad, and we'll give you those metrics at the end of the week in a summary and also on a daily basis. So yeah, it's definitely there to keep you accountable. We don't want it to be a stress. We want it just to be a helpful companion to your life, and something hopefully people will get involved with and immediately see the value from.
Dr. Justin, I can't help but ask, with the testing kits, obviously each kit's a different price depending on what's involved, but I'm assuming insurance doesn't cover it. Is there a difference there? But say if you go to the doctor, you might get covered by insurance. Obviously, you've got the convenience of the testing kits and the amazing reporting and then everything else that comes with it on the app. But in terms of cost, if I were to pay for the same tests, say I went to the doctor, would I even be able to do a DNA test? And then if I can, how much would it cost versus your kits?
Well, the DNA test, that example, isn't looking at critical outcomes, so it would be unlikely you would be able to claim it on medical insurance. There are many of our tests that you can, and there's ways of doing it. As I said, we have many professional partners who also have a presence on our platform that you could go and see and do it via insurance if you wanted to. There are ways of doing that, but the point I should stress is that this method of looking at your health and having information on yourself is very light on the pocket compared to what you might get from a private clinic. a specialist clinic, let's say, you're not having the price of the consultations. That can be substantial. We have comparative pricing. Of course, they're our professional partners. We have comparative pricing there, but there's much you will save around it. Again, I will repeat, this is essentially like having like a super practitioner in your pocket. It can process the information from your biomarkers, from your health, in a much more efficient, systematic way than any brain on the planet. It's quite sophisticated what we have built, and it doesn't make errors. I would say it should save everyone money in terms of, not just the price of access to your health, but also in, not taking supplements that your body doesn't need, let's say, which a lot of people do. A lot of people take things unnecessarily. You also give you good information there, so you're not passing through your body cash that could be better spent on something else that would be a benefit to you. It will give you that. It's an education resource. It's a practitioner. It's a super brain that will give you personalized plans for not just your diet or your exercise, but also organize everything for you and hopefully be a fun experience in the same.
I love it. And so you're allowing people, you say, to take control of their own health, which is sort of sad that you even have to do that, really. But it's true. I mean, you go to the doctor and that you even have to ask them for the results, and sometimes they won't even give you your results.
Exactly.
But not only that, you're then putting that into a form that the layperson can understand. But I also wonder, are you allowing people to take control of their health, or are you allowing technology to take over?
Yeah, terrible technology, isn't it? It's going to rule the world. I don't think so. What we've encoded into the platform is essentially human logic. It's a very human thing. This will handle all the information much better than a human brain would. It's an interesting thing, though. We're taking away the shortcomings of that qualitative assessment of yourself. Yes, sure, intuition has some sort of place. But, often when you want that banana, it could just be because you're dehydrated and you got a bit of a sugar craving. What we're going to tell you is give you an objective perspective on your body due to the encoded human logic that we put in there, just what we know, how human brains work, and it will give you an objective perspective on your body that is much more actionable than just doing a touchy-feely approach to the day, which, unfortunately, human beings aren't truly rational creatures. We are subject to a lot of shortcomings in reasoning. We have a lot of confirmation biases and all sorts of reasoning biases that can knock us off track. There were good and ancestral environments possibly for keeping us alive, but we have an excellent tool in science in which we can deliver better truths about the world, let's say. And we're really giving you that access to these truths. It's like democratizing science in a way. We're giving you direct access to good health science. We can use that science to create essentially a quantitative, a digitized, a number-based picture of yourself with which you can directly connect and know how to respond to make changes for the better.
Love it. Dr. Justin, can you share with us, if you know offhand, someone that, you don't have to mention names, but an example of someone that's really benefited from doing your, I guess, testing kits and then perhaps even all the way through to your meals?
Sure. So it's not just myself. I can't keep myself going largely based on these protocols. But yeah, absolutely. We've got several. We have one early client. I've been doing Quantics 2.5 years ago now. So we've got one client jumps in my mind straight away that we had very much from the early days, an executive lady that we know. And we took her through a very comprehensive round of testing. We quantified much of her body. She was really interested in making change. She was in a slightly unhappy place. She wanted to get back to where she was, and she wanted, she's smart. She knows she could empower herself through this technology, and she was waiting for it, and we had it. So we did a load of testing, and, much as I've been explaining here, we essentially just balanced her physiology. So she didn't have any big nutritional deficits or hormonal imbalances, and everything just started working. When we retested, everything started working. She's very disciplined. I mean, just training as she was before, continuing training, her body started responding, and she felt much better in the workplace. She had more energy at work. That process has been ongoing for 2.5 years. She has our meals all the time, every meal, essentially. So she's eating optimal food for herself, and I hope she hears this, but she's, lost 25 kilo in weight, and she's very competitive at her sport now. She's doing really well, and I'm really happy for her.
That's awesome. Dr. Justin, I've got to thank you for coming on the show today, and I know that a lot of our listeners are going to absolutely take up these kits and be able to take control of their own health. And before I let you go, I've got to ask you a personal question that I ask all my guests on the show, and that is, do you have a tattoo?
Me? No, I don't have a tattoo.
I must admit, I was trying to look. I couldn't see any, so I thought maybe you might have a hidden one.
I kind of like the idea of having a tattoo. I do. I've even designed it. I know. Yeah, I've got a lot of things in my life that have been very meaningful to me. But I've also had a lot of chapters in my life as well. And I've always kind of entering my 6th chapter in my life now. I've led quite a varied life. And I think the thing with tattoos with me is that it will prevent me from changing my skin in a way. And I think if I have to respond, I need to be able to respond in the best way I can. It sounds a little bit silly. I like the idea, but I'm just not quite able to push myself to do it.
And if you were, what would it be?
It would be a whole bunch of meaningful symbols. Some of it drawn from sports I've done in my life. Some of it drawn from like interest in ancient history and historical figures and influential figures. Symbols associated with this. I've played with, I like sunflowers. There's symbols around flowers throughout history as well. I think it would be like an amalgamation of something like a floral design with all these symbols that was meaningful to me in my life. I'm probably going to get this done now, Ali. You probably just pushed me over the line on this.
Well,
I'm going to go and do it.
I was actually just thinking that if you did all that, you might be covered in a tattoo.
Well, the idea was to just fit on my shoulder, or somewhere, but...
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us all your knowledge. And like I said, I'm sure our listeners will be very keen to check you out.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thanks for having me. It's been great talking.
For all the resources and show notes from today's episode, please go to www.ali.fitness. If you liked today's episode, please show your appreciation by going to iTunes, give us a 5-star review and subscribe.